Mr. Speaker, today we are talking about the Ghana gas. Indeed, I do recall as spokesperson to His Excellency Vice President John Dramani Mahama then. He chaired a series of meetings when we assumed office that even if we can't do anything, as for our domestic gas, there should be value addition and that we should take full advantage of our indigenous gas. Mr. Speaker, in 2011, under President Mills, the NDC administration conceived and began the process of constructing this all-important facility. In fact, the company was incorporated in July 2011. The project financing, which was about a $1 billion amount, was part of the $3 billion facility from the Chinese Development Bank. Government of Ghana itself contributed 15% of that amount. And like my good friend stated, it had to do with a 45-kilometer offshore natural gas pipeline, a 111-kilometer onshore natural gas pipeline, and 75-kilometer lateral pipeline. Now when you process the gas, and our gas is simply what we call methane. Methane is CH4. But you have methane, pentane, butane, in that order. Ours is methane, which is like pure gas. And it's not just the methane, Mr. Speaker. The gas processing plant today has a capacity to produce about 50% of domestic LPG. That gas processing plant produces about 98% of that gas is sent into the electricity subsector. And so because of that, hitherto we used to import about 12 parcels of light crude oil. Today we import virtually no light crude oil, and that gives us an annual savings of over $300 million, aside the employment that it creates. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to note that despite all these benefits we are getting from this gas processing plant, Ghana Gas's debt today is about $1 billion. That is unacceptable. And I think that as a house, we must work with all the stakeholders.
Honorable members, that conference must cease.
We must work to ensure that we deal with this issue of the debt overhang. Now there are even plans to extend the pipeline. And those who do not know, there's a company called Men Energy. They were initially doing private pipelines, supplying the mines. And so very soon, if we can work very hard, Ghana can become like Cushing's in Oklahoma, where we become the center and the hub for the gas industry, such that we do not just supply gas for our domestic use, but then we supply gas to other West African countries. Because the gas pricing is not like crude. Crude oil price is international and is standard. But when it comes to gas pricing, even though you can index it to crude, it's normally not the case. And so Ghana can become a center where, like Henry Hobbs, this becomes the place for gas pricing and its determination. And so, Mr. Speaker, beyond that too, it should send us to the petroleum sector properly in terms of our crude oil. If we can process our indigenous gas and get all this benefit from it, why can't we do so for our own crude? I recall that during our time, we procured 2 million barrels of plain oil for the Tema Oil Refinery. The Tema Oil Refinery at peak capacity can process 65,000 barrels of crude oil. And there's a ratio, that's a 3-2-1, which means that out of every barrel, you can get like 2 barrels of gasoline and 1 barrel of heating oil. So I think that government should look at the Tema Oil Refinery. I believe that when you look at petroleum economics, once you hit around 65,000 to 70,000 barrels, you become profitable. And the Tema Oil Refinery meets all the requirements of a refinery: the location, the nursing complexity, the workforce, the refinery's strength and all that. And so I would plead with government to look at where we're left off, especially when we started giving our own indigenous crude oil to the Tema Oil Refinery, so we can process our own crude oil and also make some revenues out of it. Mr. Speaker, having said this, Let's speaker, having said this, let me pay homage to former President Mills for that vision, and particularly for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Particularly for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Because in 2014, President John Dramani Mahama personally went there and commissioned that facility and started producing gas. Like the majority leader always says, now